Hello, this is Eugene. This is our week 8 project. This project was a great exercise for me because I'm in information technology, but I'm not in the architecture or software or hardware field. I do have friends in the field, but I've just never made it around to that part. It did force me to research every part of this project to come up with a solution, and I was able to speak with them um, on some of the proposed solutions because some things I just didn't have a lot of exposure to. But I did do a lot of research, and some of the steps that I had taken for this project was based off the information that was provided. I recommended using a hybrid architecture model. This model allows utilization of both on-premise and cloud technology. Uh, some of the benefits of a hybrid cloud are its agility and its redundancy. I felt like everything that I was provided, it didn't make sense to um, put the onus on the organization to have everything installed. And it really, we didn't really need to spend the money to go full cloud. So um, we were able to conceivably um, keep costs down and keep some of the stuff that we wanted to in house. Next, I looked at security. I would consider this uh, a fairly complex security project for me. I know that some things are more complex than others, but what really had some interesting dynamics is the payment registration component and then the demographic information for the registration. I knew that we needed security in layers. I know there's a PCI compliant architecture out there and recommendations. Not all transactions are secure, but we wanted to make sure that we were um, meeting the industry standard. So I wanted to make sure that we had PCI compliant architecture. I wanted to make sure that we stored our data securely and put layers in place with strong security passwords and whatnot. And then we implemented policies and conducted an annual review of those policies. I even talked about getting a maintenance plan in to make sure that our software was up to date. Next, I looked at the architecture. There were several components that we needed to make this successful. There's a standard equipment, but what I really wanted to focus on was a few items. I knew that we had the docking station. I knew we had some of that stuff, but I wanted to make sure that we had a UPS backup at least our main location, starting, and then others if need be as we expanded. For sure, we would have that because when power goes out, we just want to make sure that we have, that 30 minutes or whatnot to back up whatever we needed to back up. I also want to make sure that we had server backups, not being able to uh, get your data or have access to it if something goes wrong that can be crippling to an organization. So I want to make sure that we had server backups and a backup plan. I want to ensure that our database was set up correctly and efficiently. We did a lot of work in this class about databases and efficiency. And when we were building some of this stuff, I want to make sure, even from a reporting standpoint, that it was efficient. And then I wanted to make sure, probably the most important part, was making sure that we shifted the payment model to a vendor that is used to handling this type of transaction. I felt like the organization wasn't equipped to handle transactions, especially in volume, and I wanted to make sure that we linked up with another organization that had everything in place. Lastly, I broke out major tasks in this project with the project plan that we could, you know, reference and walk through before the go live. It was just simple things, obtaining all the hardware, installing it, with the software and installing it, making sure we had a security plan, making sure we had a maintenance plan, making sure we had training and validation classes for the not only the database and the reports, but making sure that the users knew how to register people and get whatever they needed. Oftentimes, those are the minor details that have major impact that are missed in organizations. Pretty much what's outstanding. Um, One thing that I did was I made sure that we partnered with organizations and we budgeted to have a test environment. Um, this is from personal experience. I've been in organizations where um, everything gets done in their production environment, or they just do something weird to where they don't have a test environment due to the cost. But I think to make this successful, having that test environment, replicating everything in that test environment, all the data, all the users, everything, and making sure that we ran through that test before we moved it into production. I think so. If we can, get through the final test and validation, then we can move everything into production, into the go live environment. And I think that we would be ready to go live with this project. Thank you.